Hey Kings, what's poppin'? It's me, James of Regret, and today we're taking a look at a man who professes the superiority of the Nintendo Switch over all other gaming platforms. He even goes so far as to claim that all other gaming platforms are irrelevant in the face of the almighty and all-powerful Nintendo, blessed be its name. We are of course talking about the one, the only, Harman Smith, or Cody Lee if you go by his pen name on Amazon. Don't read his books, by the way, they're cringe. Anyways, sit back and relax, Kings, and let's get into the shit show, shall we?
Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of blackcatbooks.org, author of Cruel and Beautiful, Eye of the Dragon, and Rabbit Hole.
Again, I highly recommend against reading his books, but if you are compelled to check them out, go watch A Crab Named Heller's live reading of it on his channel. Link will be on the description below.
I really do feel as if PC gamers are more interested in talking shit about other game platforms online than actually playing games. This has been something that I've experienced offhand.
Yep, that's fanboy behavior for you. They'll go out of their way to trash talk every other platform that they don't worship. Kind of sort of like what you're doing, isn't it?
In the past, on forums and message boards and stuff like that, seeing people pretend that they own fully functional copies of Fire Emblem Awakening on PC in 2013, long before that was even possible, 2015, long before 3DS emulation was even possible.
You mean like you claiming to have a gaming PC, which you also claim to be inferior than your Nintendo Switch? We still haven't seen any proof of that, by the way. Not even a mention of specs or whatever.
You have people talking shit about Zelda, Mario, Splatoon, Pokemon, just because they're Nintendo games, just because PC gamers don't have access to them.
Just like you shit talk everything that isn't a Nintendo game. Again, a little bit of self-awareness would do you some good.
You have all these weird ideas about how PC can run games more effectively than than Nintendo hardware. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
My gaming PC is probably 3 times more powerful than a Nintendo Switch. Yes, I can play Switch games better than the Switch itself. I mean, all you need to do is look at the difference between the Switch ports to their original counterparts to see what I mean.
It's laughable. It's something I've addressed in the past as just being ridiculous, but more and more as my views regarding PC gaming start becoming more and more prevalent, more and more well known online, I am starting to get a little bit of backlash from individuals who have nothing better than to do than to make videos discussing my views on this subject, insisting that I'm ignorant, that I'm just making shit up, that
Ha! That's big talk coming from someone who uploads and spews out nonsense almost on the daily. Honestly, you could probably give Crap Gamer a good run for his money with the kind of content that you spew out.
Splatoon and Pokemon aren't that good. That fucking Overwatch is somehow a Game of the Year contender.
Well, it was Game of the Year contender when it launched. Overwatch was a damn good game when it first came out, and deserved a lot of the praise it got in those early days. But that doesn't matter now, doesn't it? It doesn't have the big red N sticker on it, so it's automatically bad, according to this guy at least, who writes novels that feels like a 14-year-old's fanfics.
PC gamers don't want to admit they've been had. They don't want to admit they've spent 20, 30 years of their lives playing mediocre stealth and shooter games instead of the superior Nintendo ones that were coming around that same period.
I wonder what this clown qualifies as mediocre, and what he qualifies as superior. Could it be something as banal and unsubstantive as a brand sticker? Well no, clearly this is a man of intelligence. He would never solely base his preferences on something so surface level as brand.
Even today, I find myself discovering new and interesting Nintendo games that I'd never played before. I discovered ActRaiser somewhat recently. I discovered the Professor Layton games. I picked up 3 of those. I'm in the process of getting through the last of the Castlevania games. I have a lot of Dragon Quest games to get through on Nintendo consoles. there's endless amounts of high quality, interesting, engaging Nintendo content on these platforms, and yet PC gamers always write that off. They always do two things: bitch about visuals and insist that they can emulate games, even if they actually can't.
First off, Steam also has as much, if not more, engaging games than the Nintendo. In fact, you could argue that Steam has far more games than Nintendo does, since more games come out on PC than they do on Nintendo. Second off, yeah, PC games of the same generation generally look better. And thirdly, Nintendo platforms are some of the easiest to emulate. It took less than a year for the first build of the Switch emulator to be made public.
This keeps coming up over and over and over again. Like, you always see people say that, like, oh yeah, I'm playing like Metroid Prime at 60 FPS on my PC, on my gaming PC. Yeah, Doom 2016 is better, but I'm still playing this game just to play it, and it's just fake. Like, it's all fake and gay and just.
Yes. Let me dismiss these valid arguments that undermine my points as fake and gay without presenting any counterpoints of my own. This will totally not show me as an insecure person at all.
Trying to get a rise out of you, trying to keep up the facade, and I do think that's the big thing. To pretend that there is a significant to continue pretending that there is a significant difference between PC gaming and console gaming. There isn't. And
I'm sorry, did you just say what I think you said? Rewind that clip.
to continue pretending that there is a significant difference between PC gaming and console gaming. There isn't. And
Alright, so you're telling me that consoles, which have none of the functionalities, systems, and accessibilities as a PC, are essentially gaming PCs. Are you dumb? Did your mother drop you on the head, or were you just born like this?
in fact, I would say like PS5 and Xbox Series X are basically, actually Xbox One and PS4, are basically just gaming PCs. Like, that's all they are. Like, they have the same libraries. They're pretty much they're pretty much like the indistinguishable from each other, from like a gaming software standpoint.
Holy shit, how are you a writer if you can't even form coherent sentences? Also, how in God's green earth is PC gaming indistinguishable from console gaming? Like, for real, even from a software standpoint, how are they indistinguishable? In what universe can you run external programs like Vortex or Script Extender on a console without having jailbroken said console beforehand?
Meanwhile, you have the Nintendo consoles doing new and interesting things with the hardware.
Most of those gimmicks don't even get picked up seriously by the gaming industry at large.
That PC simply cannot emulate.
What exactly can't the PC emulate? Motion controls? There are shit tons of third-party peripherals out there that help you run the Wii's motion controllers on a PC, so that it effectively can be emulated. That is, after all, the magic of the PC as a system. Just about anything can run on a PC with the right combination of parts and programs.
And new and interesting things with the software that PC cannot legally obtain. So
it's hilarious to me how he brings up legality in this argument as if it's supposed to be a gotcha card. Legality in this question is a non-argument. The question was always, can it be done on a computer? Of which the answer was always yes. What he did here is try to move the goalposts by throwing legality in the mix, which is a non-argument since the question was always about is it possible as opposed to is it allowed. Here's an example to help you understand. Is it possible to build a Kalashnikov out of a shovel or the tools in your garage? Of course, it's possible. In fact, it's been done before. Does the government allow you to do so? Probably not, but that doesn't change the fact that it is 100% possible.
It's this huge like double whammy that really just kills the PC gamer. Like, you can't carry your like $2,500 gaming PC, your $10,000 gaming PC anywhere with you. Meanwhile, I can just rip out my Switch and take it to work with me if I wanted to, or like take it out to a restaurant with me if I wanted to. Like, take it out to a park with me if I wanted to. Like, the fact that I can do that, like, take it on a road trip, like, do things like that with it, like, just carry it around with me, like, that's cool, interesting. That's a cool, interesting thing, that PC gamers will never ever get to experience.
The PC and the Switch have two very different design philosophies, which give it two very different purposes as gaming platforms. The PC is far superior for a dedicated gaming device, with its overall better hardware. In that perspective, it blows the Switch out of the water. But the Switch does edge out against regular gaming rigs in that it's portable and can be taken just about anywhere. Issue is that it's underpowered as all hell and you aren't going to be getting the best experience possible. So claiming that the Switch is the be-all end-all of gaming just because you can take it places is stupid. Also, the Steam Deck is going to be a thing, so suck a cock.
I know PC gamers never actually leave their house, but
Hey, at least we have a house, as opposed to having to bunk in our wife's boyfriend's basement all the time.
for those of us who do, it's a really nice benefit. It is a really nice boon for the Nintendo fan, the Nintendo Master Race. So,
Ah yes, the Nintendo Master Race, famous for below 1080 30 FPS gaming, paid multiplayer and online functionality, as well as controller drift and underpowered hardware. So powerful and impressive indeed. Clearly the peak of gaming as we know it.
again, the reason I don't talk about PC gaming more is that PC gaming is completely irrelevant. You have no games, you have no future, you have nothing really to look forward to in the next 10 years.
So, VR, HD gaming, modding, competitive multiplayer, experimental indie titles, they just don't exist, huh? And it's not like we literally just got the most powerful graphics card in the entire gaming industry. Probably like quintuple the power of the Switch alone.
Right now, you guys are still trying to delude yourselves into thinking that Cyberpunk 2020 is good.
What the fuck are you talking about? Cyberpunk 2020 is a master-crafted game. It's one of the greatest tabletop RPGs from the early 90s, and it's still great to play even today. Oh, you mean the monumentally overhyped trash fire that was Cyberpunk 2077? Yeah, hardly anyone thinks that's a good game. You're making up fake arguments to fight against again, because you damn well know you can't actually win against real valid points.
I can't imagine being that fucking depraved, that fucking tasteless that you would seriously try to do that.
Depraved and tasteless? Buddy, you really need to stop projecting. Look in the mirror sometimes. Have a bit of self-reflection, why don't you? Anyways, we're just about done with this console clown. If you want more clowns to laugh at, stay tuned to the channel for the next entry in the most legendary console fanboy saga. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share if you feel like it. This is James of Regret. Good luck and Godspeed to all of you. Signing out.